Hi there, I'm Vincent Boss and I provide dating and self-improvement advice. And in today's podcast, we're going to be discussing dumped-dumper syndrome. I provide audio and email coaching to help people try and get their ex back or get a new girlfriend or boyfriend. Check out my website for more details, www.dateme.tips. Please check your spam and junk folders if you are expecting an email from me. So now let's get back into today's podcast, and today we are discussing dumped-dumper syndrome. So when a relationship ends, you are either a dumper or a dumpee. Or are you? In today's podcast, I'm going to be describing the situation where somebody has a blended mindset of both dumper and dumpee. Not everything is as clear as it seems at the time of a breakup, and in some instances, I like to describe the situation as dumped-dumper syndrome. In today's podcast, I'm going to be giving you 3 pieces of information regarding my theory of dumped-dumper syndrome, and within this information, hopefully you will be able to understand whether you are somebody who is suffering from dumped-dumper syndrome. Please let me know in the comments if you feel that you are matching these traits and that you are no doubt suffering from dumped-dumper syndrome. So let's get straight into this. And the first piece of information regarding this dumped-dumper syndrome is explaining what exactly is dumped-dumper syndrome. What exactly is this and how does it occur? So first of all, we need to understand, why does a relationship end? So when 2 people are in a relationship, there is a high level of romantic emotional attraction between both people. Now, if this level of romantic emotional attraction drops for one or both people, then this is where a relationship will start to fall apart and at some stage will likely end. Now, in most instances, one person out of a couple will be losing more romantic emotional attraction than their partner, and they will be losing it at a much greater pace than their partner, and there will definitely be a large gap in between both people regarding their feelings at this time. And in most instances, when one person loses enough romantic emotional attraction, they will end the relationship and they will then become the dumper and their former partner becomes the dumpee. But in some instances, the level of romantic emotional attraction will be dropping at a very similar rate. And when this happens, we have a unique situation in which both people could become the dumper. And this is where dumped-dumper syndrome starts to come into play. So dumped-dumper syndrome is where someone who is on the verge of ending a relationship gets dumped themselves. So if you are of the mindset that you feel that the relationship is not going well, you're not feeling it right, you're not thinking that this has got any future, there's no longevity in your opinion regarding this relationship, and you're feeling like you are on the verge of ending this relationship. You are a person who's in a relationship, but in your mind, you're just trying to figure out how and when you are going to end this relationship because you're not feeling it, and you understand that sooner or later you are going to become the dumper and this relationship is going to end. And then out of nowhere, you get dumped. So this is dumped-dumper syndrome. You are the person who is about to end the relationship, and then quite unexpectedly to you, you get dumped, and hence you become the dumpee. So you have a dumper mindset because you are about to end the relationship, but then you are dumped yourself and you become the dumpee. And you then start to experience as well the feelings that most dumpees feel. So let's get into point number 2. And that is, despite being the dumpee, this person will initially feel relief that the relationship has ended in the same way that most dumpers do. So in most instances, when we have a clear out and out dumper, when they end the relationship, their initial feeling is generally some relief. And it's the relief that they've got over the most difficult challenge that they saw in front of them. Most dumpers do not want to hurt their dumpees. Most dumpers are dreading ending a relationship. And hence, when they actually do, initially they feel relief. Now, somebody who is suffering from dumped dumper syndrome, although they are the dumpee, will actually feel this initial relief that the relationship has ended. Because in their mindset and their subconscious, they was about to end the relationship anyway. And this is actually what they wanted. So they are feeling like, oh, all that stress is gone. The relationship is over. I'm feeling a lot more comfortable now. They will obviously be acknowledging that they didn't end the relationship, even though they expected to. And they will be feeling some relief. They'll probably be feeling quite thankful that they didn't have to end the relationship because their former partner did instead. They almost feel like that they have kind of got out of jail, you might say. You know, they have kind of escaped a situation they didn't really want to be in. They didn't really want to end the relationship and cause all this pain, but they did want the relationship to be over. And hence, because this has been made by the other person, because this decision has been made by their former partner, and they're actually the dumpee rather than the dumper, they're feeling some relief, and actually they're feeling really thankful in some respects that their partner did the deed, because then they didn't have to. So they don't have the guilt of ending the relationship, and they get the benefit of the relationship not being together anymore because they didn't even want it to be. And that is the first initial reaction that somebody going through dumped dumper syndrome will likely feel. So let's get now into point number 3, and the final piece of information regarding this concept that I like to call dumped dumper syndrome. And point number 3 is, after a short while, the relief feeling changes into pain, confusion, and sadness. So this is where feelings really start to blend together and get quite confusing for somebody in this position. Because although the relationship has ended, and that is what they wanted, although they didn't even have to end the relationship, and in that respect, they was quite happy, relieved, and grateful that their ex did this, this person will now start to feel the feelings that a dumpee generally does. Classic dumpee feelings will start to flood the mind of somebody suffering from dumped dumper syndrome. And this will be confusion, a feeling of being low value, a feeling like they've been robbed of something important, even though when they think of it logically, they know that they definitely was in the position, the mindset where they wanted to end the relationship. But right now, all they're feeling is like, well, maybe this could have been sorted. Maybe we could have grown this better. I'm not going to find anybody better. I'm really, really worried this is going to be the best I was ever going to have. And now I'm really scared that I will never find anybody better than my ex. I can't believe they ended the relationship. And now I'm feeling like they was the best person ever. And these feelings really start to blend together. The reason for this is that even though this person was going to end the relationship, at the end of the day, they were dumped, and they are the dumpee. And there is nothing more attractive than rejection. Sadly, for human beings, there is nothing more attractive than rejection, and hence when we are rejected, the person or situation that rejects us becomes 10 times more powerful in our mind. So somebody ends a relationship with us, and all of a sudden we push them onto a pedestal. If we apply for a job and then we think to ourselves, you know what, I don't even know if I really want this job, but I'm still going to go to the interview. And then you were told you haven't got the job. All of a sudden you think to yourself, well, I actually would have liked this job. Why didn't I get this job? I'm angry I haven't got this job. I'm feeling really sad I never even got offered the job. I wanted to at least be offered it. And it's the same kind of thing, however you look at it. Rejection is very attractive because rejection is the feeling that somebody has made a decision for us, but we had no say in. So when we're looking at this situation in dumped dumper syndrome, somebody has ended a relationship and therefore we have a dumpee. And just because the dumpee wasn't feeling the relationship either in this instance, this doesn't mean that they are going to be happy about being dumped, because being dumped is a power struggle. Being dumped makes the scales of value uneven, and it creates a situation where the person who is being dumped, the dumpee, is looking up at their dumper and pushing them onto a pedestal, because they're subconsciously thinking, well, if you've made a decision ahead of me, then you must be more powerful than me, and I really, really want you because of that power. And this is where the confusion really manifests itself with people in this situation. And therefore it can be very, very confusing for somebody with dumper syndrome. They're feeling initially the feelings that a dumper would feel, and then they move on to feeling the feelings that a dumpee will feel, and everything blends together to create a real mishmash of feelings and experiences. Now, the dumpee in this instance, this person who is going through this, they need to try to settle their mindset as best they can and try not to make any rash decisions. I always say, when you're going through a breakup, don't make rash decisions. You really need to be concentrating on becoming very stable-minded once more before you make any large decisions. But in particular, if you're going through dumper syndrome, you don't know if you're coming or going. You don't know where you are in the world with all of this. 1 minute you're feeling happy, then you're feeling sad, then you're feeling confused, then you're really missing your ex, then you're happy they ended the relationship. All of these feelings will keep going round and round and round. It's very important that you don't do anything rash, because your mindset is going to be more confused than probably anybody else's who's going through a breakup. Make sure you focus on your own journey, go through self-improvement, speak with your friends and family, always contact a professional doctor if you are feeling depressed, and take one step forward every single day until you have a clear mind. Now, if you are somebody going through dumper syndrome, and you can understand that you are, because you see all of these traits clearly, then if and when your dumper actually contacts you, then please make sure you make the correct decision about if you want to reconcile. Because if you are a dumpee in this instance, you still stand every chance of one day hearing from your ex again. The difference is you have to remind yourself that you wanted to end this relationship. So if and when your ex makes contact, please think very carefully about if you even want to reconcile. Don't do it for the sake of it. Don't do it just because you are the dumpee and you are feeling a lot of extra attraction for your ex because they rejected you. Try to think clearly on this, because there is nothing worse than reconnecting in a relationship that wasn't working and didn't seem to have any light at the end of the tunnel. Now, look, if you really feel strongly that you now would like to get back together and your ex reaches out, then why not go for it? You know, if you really feel that you've gone through self-improvement and your ex has moved forward as well, and you both feel that you can reconnect and have a stronger relationship, then that's absolutely fine. But please make sure that you still use my version of a no contact rule. Even though you are suffering from dumper syndrome, you are still the dumpee. And I suggest you follow the advice I give for dumpees in this situation. But please just make sure you're absolutely sure that you want to reconcile if and when your ex contacts you, because you yourself wanted to end this relationship. If you believe that this podcast has helped you, then please consider buying me a coffee. The link to do so is in the description.
Yeah, if you miss your ex, we can help with that. Help you get him back, or we can help find you someone else. Yeah, Vincent Bo, the relationship coach, giving you some insight, bringing you a new approach. DateMe.tips, go and check the site, giving you advice, helping with your love life. Get your ex back or move to the next. Ain't no sweat, you know Vincent Bo got you. Finding love ain't no problem. Yeah, DateMe.tips, check it out now.